Voluptuous TV. And this is Miss Chess coming to you on Voluptuous TV. And tonight I have a very, very special guest sitting right next to me. And he goes by the name of Skylar B.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I'm very, very excited that I finally get a chance to talk to you up close and personal on the show.
Cool.
I've known you for several years now, and I always knew that you had a very interesting concept of style.
Thank you.
So please tell me exactly, what do you do?
Well, what I do is I'm a wardrobe stylist. I started off in design school, wanted to be a fashion designer, and you know, life gets in the way, things happen, and I took more interest into the styling side of it. And I left school, went to New York, and kind of just by the seat of my pants went out there and just knew that I would make it happen. And I ended up meeting a very great person named Texana Watts, who at the time was fashion stylist to Puff Daddy, and she hired me on as her assistant, and that's mainly how I got started in the business. I worked for him for a couple years. We freelanced with a few different people, and I ended up moving back to St. Louis to start my own clothing boutique, and I had that for 3 years. It closed down, and then I got back into the styling side of it, started doing more videos and different things like that, working with a lot of nationally recording artists, local artists, a few socialites here and there, you know, just keeping it fun and always interesting.
Now, one thing I know about you is that you're extremely down to earth. And with being part of the fashion industry, I'm sure you've ran into a lot of different attitudes and mood swings, because we all know that people like to look a certain way, particularly on video sets and things of that nature.
Exactly.
What has your experience been like?
The experience has been great. There has been some tests on different sets, shoots, things of that nature, but for the most part, I kind of work through it. You know, if it's some I feel like I'm having a challenge with, I'll just pull the person to the side. We can kind of have a little one-on-one powwow, kind of work through some things. But for the most part, people trust me. You know, they take my advice and receive it, I'll say. And, you know, I don't want to just be like, you know, here, wear this and that's it. You know, I want to kind of work with you and what makes you feel comfortable, because if you're not coming across comfortable, it's not going to come across comfortable for me or you. So I just want to make sure that everybody is good with what's going on, be it me as the stylist, the makeup person, the hair person, the director, just everybody on the set. You want to make sure that they're happy, and I feel like wardrobe plays a big part into all of that.
You're absolutely correct. How do you come up with your concept? So when you first have a new client and you see that person, and again, like say it's for a video shoot or something of that nature, do you draw sketches? Like what's your formation?
My formation would be, depending on the situation, but for music videos, probably like I would get the treatment and kind of read over that, and then I put lookbooks together, different tear sheets, pictures, maybe some old stuff I did or some new stuff, search the libraries, print some things off from the internet, put the lookbook together, bring it into the client, let them kind of overlook it, and you know, then I can get an idea of what they're looking for as well. So they can go through the book. If it's a red jacket and they're like, no, you know, I was looking more for a red shirt, just to give them ideas of what they might be looking for, or things that they didn't know they liked but saw in the lookbook and was like, ooh, that's something I'll do. So that's mainly how I prepare for it.
Now, of course, you've mentioned wardrobe styling. And of course, with wardrobe styling, we know that hair and makeup is extremely important.
It is.
You spent some time on a show entitled Split Ends. That was all about the hair. Tell me about that.
Well, that started off, I started doing an apprenticeship with the She Salon here in St. Louis, Missouri, Marie Simone, the owner, and we just decided to send a trial tape in, and they loved it. Of course, you know, we had all our quirky personalities and all that. So I think they really took to that because we were all different, but we worked together really well, and we ended up being picked, and we swapped with Elgin Charles Beverly Hills. So I got a chance to meet him and his whole staff and see their side of, you know, the hair world, which is a little bit different from St. Louis, but mainly the same.
And according to that show, he took a serious liking to you.
He did.
They transformed you into like a mini him.
Yes, transformed me into mini me. So when I talk to him today, he's still calling me mini me, but it's okay. I am striving to be a little mini Elgin somewhat. But yeah, that experience took me on to Paul Mitchell, the School St. Louis. I'm now a future professional there, and just trying to grow my business in that aspect. My long-term goal is to one day have my own styling firm where I'll contract hairstylists, wardrobe stylists, makeup artists, and a few other things, but you know, that's down the line. But yeah, that's what I'm working on now. So yeah, I love the hair side of it, I love the makeup side, and of course, you know, I love the wardrobe. But
well, I think you are definitely well on your way. You've accomplished so very much in a short period of time.
Working hard, never stopping, I guess. You know, you gotta just stay focused. You know, you might start out on one path and it seemed like it's taking a long time to get there, and I'm the person that don't mind taking rights and lefts to do different things, but I'm still on that same path. Maybe I'll just get there a little bit quicker by taking this right or left, or, you know, going around the corner again and coming back and starting it over. Like, I think people get afraid sometimes when things, I don't want to say fail, but just say they put a 2-month time limit on it and it doesn't work in that 2 months, they get discouraged and maybe want to let it go. With me, I'm more like, you know, I do set time limits, but I try to work a little extra hard at putting the plan into play and just making it happen. And if it doesn't, I don't get discouraged. I try something different and just work more at that. And I think that's why I've been successful at a lot of things that I've done, because I just stay persistent.
Now, can I ask you this? Because you have traveled to so many different places, and of course, I know you are very enthused with New York. In comparison to St. Louis, totally different parts of the world.
Yes.
Style is totally different. So how do you rate St. Louis from that aspect?
I would rate St. Louis, like on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to say that St. Louis would be like somewhere between a 6 and an 8. Some people feel like St. Louis would be more of a 2 or a 3. I really don't, because I feel like St. Louis has a lot of style. There's a lot of talented people here in all aspects, music, film, you know, just everything. And it's just like, I think a few people here are scared to step out of St. Louis, and that's kind of what's hindering them. But yeah, I would rate it between a 6 and an 8. Like, it's a growing place. I feel like there's stylish people here. You know, it's just like New York. You have some stylish people, some not. You know, you have some people that are more into the artsy side of things versus here. You know what I mean? Like, I traveled to a place and they had like a street fair, and I was just like commenting like, oh, you know, St. Louis needs to do something like this, or, you know, we don't have this going on in St. Louis. And I came back, and that following weekend there was this big street fair on the south side. So I'm like, there is things, you just have to kind of find out about them and get involved in it. And that's something that I do want St. Louis to do, is to come together more. I feel like there's still a little segregation, you know, like cliques, friends. You know, if I hang out with you, it's only me and you hanging. But me, you know, I'm a bubbly person. I like to meet new people. I like to hang out with new people. So I'm always trying new things, new areas, new foods, all that. And I think that's what's kept me as a well-rounded person.
So then how does a fashionista such as yourself separate in an industry that can be considered oversaturated? Because I agree, I believe we have a lot of style here in St. Louis. Everybody pretty much does their own thing. But when you compare St. Louis to a place like New York or Florida, particularly Miami, or even Atlanta for that matter, there are significant differences. And we have so many talented fashion designers here in St. Louis. So as a stylist, how do you separate yourself relative to oversaturation?
I just try to be real all the time. Just keep it 100% at all times. You know, sometimes keeping it real can be negative feedback, but not in a mean way, you know. And I feel like if you're giving negative feedback in a nice way, it's able to be received versus, you know, if you're coming off attitudey or snotty. And I just never try to be that. You know, I'm always trying to smile, be nice, overcome the situation, not really fall into that negative rim while I'm working. You know, it might be something at home I might need to discuss again with myself, but for the most part, I just try to keep it professional, keep it upbeat, you know, don't let them see you sweat. That's my motto.
Can you give us 3 top fashion do's and 3 top fashion don'ts?
Okay, let's see. My fashion do's will be big ties. I love big scarves, ties. I'm not wearing one today, but I did give a gaudy necklace. And another one of my do's would be great denim. Like, you need that in your wardrobe. If it's just 1 or 2 pairs, just go ahead and invest that money into a nice pair of jeans. They'll take you long, long ways. And another thing I'm gonna say, it has to be good shoes. They don't have to be expensive shoes, but they have to be good shoes. And then fashion don'ts are definitely bad shoes and big pocket jeans, and I'm gonna say the color black all the time. And I'm probably saying that because I have to wear black every day of my life to work and school. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just over it right now.
I'd just like to say thank you.
Thank you
for coming and hanging out.
No problem.
It was a pleasure. I wish you much continued success. I think you are very, very talented young individual here in St. Louis.
Thank you.
I don't think you'll stay here long. However, when you do grace our presence, it's just totally awesome. Every time I've seen you
so
out,
much.
you know, like I said, you're always the same. You have just a beautiful personality and extremely stylish.
Thank you.
So good luck.
Thanks.